You're watching a clip from the Club podcast.
Make sure you follow it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and give it a 5-star review.
Thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring the club, and to celebrate their 11th birthday. Not only do you get a huge discount, but you also get a big birthday bonus gift from the guys at NordVPN. Yes, to claim this, all you have to do is head over to nordvpn.com/theclub. nordvpn.com/theclub, and you can get some of their exclusive offers. And guess what? It's cheaper than a cup of coffee. Yes, cheaper than a cup of coffee. I mean, these coffees down in London these days, have you seen the price? So go over to NordVPN and get on their deal.
And there is no jeopardy whatsoever because there is a 30-day money-back guarantee.
If you're looking to watch any sports or movies from other countries, NordVPN is the best service out there to do that.
And check this out for an incredible product. One NordVPN login can be used for 6 different devices.
nordvpn.com/theclub.
Right, let's start the clip.
Mason Mount. I got asked a question this week, like, where would you see Mason Mount go? And I went, like, Ten Hag would do something with him. I think Mason Mount is a very good player that is having a bad time at the moment. Should he leave Chelsea? Will he leave Chelsea?
God, no.
What is the future for Mason Mount?
I mean, it would be terrible for so many reasons. Like, even if I remove the emotional attachment that I feel towards Mason Mount, it would be terrible because he would go to play for Jurgen Klopp and he would immediately become one of their most important players. He would immediately elevate his game. He would become so potent. Like, just imagine the running and the tackles and the goals that he would score for a proper manager, basically. So no, I think he needs to be offered a contract that he's happy with. You think he deserves a contract that he's happy with. I love Mason Mount. I think he's a brilliant player. A few of my mates got together and made sure that the banner went across. You know, there's a banner in the Matthew Harding end that went over, like a huge thing that really seemed to wind a lot of people up on social media. But equally, I'm not blind to his form. His form has been atrocious. He has been a terrible player for Chelsea this season and England. So I don't think he should be starting for Chelsea at the moment. But I equally think that he is one of the best players and one of the most important players in the squad. And I know for a fact that if he ended up going to Manchester United or Liverpool or even Man City, I think that he would become amazing.
Buvey, you're grimacing over there.
Because I know where you're.
He's a better
coming
player
from.
than Calvin Phillips.
You can't then sit. You wouldn't sit Mason Mount in front of the back four and ask him to marshal the back four.
He played in a different position. He plays in a different position. But you know when you kind of grimace as to...
I grimace in the sense that is he a comparable? Ilkay Gundogan plays in a very similar role. Yeah, I mean, I know exactly what you're trying to say. I don't think it's kind of a crazy shout. I just think it's been a lot longer than you're giving it credit for. I think his form has been off for such a long period of time. I know he had a good run for Chelsea with the Champions League and stuff like that, and his energy was fantastic. Obviously, he gets the assist, doesn't he, for that goal against City?
Yeah, scored in the semi-final against Real Madrid. Like he's been a truly brilliant player for us. Also, remember, when Chelsea, under Lampard that year, when Frank Lampard effectively took Chelsea's youth team to top 4, last 16 in the Champions League and the FA Cup final, the jewel in the crown of that team was Mason Mount.
Yeah, of course. He might need a manager to sit him down and say, you are an attacking midfielder in a 3.
I think that's been...
Maybe you're a centre midfielder.
Does his flexibility hamper him?
Yes, absolutely.
Just like Phil Foden.
Absolutely.
It's happening to a lot of players.
His flexibility hampers him because he gets... Like, he was recently played out on the left. Like, that isn't his...
I've seen him on the right.
He's played on the right as well. He plays on the left, he plays on the right. He also plays as a central... Yeah, exactly, yeah. He also ends up playing as a sort of deep-lying midfielder, which is actually where I think his best position would be.
A deep-lying midfielder.
Like a proper box-to-box midfielder is what I think he is.
Yeah.
The very definition of box-to-box midfielder. I don't think he's a winger, but he's better on the wing than Chelsea's options there. He's a better winger than Christian Pulisic on the left, and therefore he's asked to do a job there. He's better on the right than Hakim Ziyech, and therefore he's asked to do a job there. Yeah. He's constantly being played out of position, and yes, his versatility doesn't do him any favours.
Is he in the wrong generation? Is he the kind of guy that is he? Because that kind of box to box 4-4-2 Essien type, Frank Lampard type. We saw it 20 years ago. 10 years ago.
He has.
Midfielders these days have to get the ball, move it quick.
His problem is you've got so many different managers at Chelsea that all come in with a different style of football. You need someone, like you say, it sits him down and says, "You're this or you're that." But there is a place for him in this game because in a midfield 3, he can fit in as one of the 8s.
Is it a 3? Yeah.
He could fit in as one of the 8.
Yeah,
he could be a number 10 in someone's system.
Yeah.
He could also be a wide player in someone's system. But you have to give him consistency and you have to give him that, that coaching and that. He's had how many different managers has the guy?
And they've all trusted him, by the way.
You know what I mean?
They've all picked him
every
first,
single
almost the
manager,
first man on the
every
sheet.
single
What I wanna
manager,
ask
whether
you-
it's one you rate like Tuchel or whether it's one you don't rate like Lampard or Southgate, every single manager has always selected Mason Mount.
Yeah, I wanted to.
His contract expires in 2024, summer of 2024. Officially, he could discuss things with clubs from January 2024. But we know football, things happen quite early. I've seen a lot of stories in papers that seem to be briefed either by club or by agents or whoever. Do you feel he is trying to find a way out? Is it just to get a better deal
I think
at Chelsea?
he wants more money. I think he wants more money.
Then the owners come in and think.
Yeah, I think he wants to be one of the higher paid players at the club. And it's weird, this, isn't it? Because when a footballer does something like this, people get really annoyed. Like, do you remember when Ashley Cole did it and all of the Arsenal fans, they came to Stamford Bridge and they had like £50 notes with Ashley Cole's face replacing the Queen on it, launching them on the pitch and that. Because Ashley Cole said something in his book where he was offered 50 grand and he nearly swerved off the road.
Because he wanted 55 or...
But of course, £50,000 then, I mean, it's a fortune now, and then was, it made him one of the higher paid players in the league. And fans don't like to hear that because we see football as an honour to play for the club. And in fact, when we play together, we pay to play. Do you know what I mean? But I have absolutely no issue with anyone in any society, in any profession, trying to get the most value for their services.
Yeah.
So I don't care that Mason Mount wants 300 grand a week. I think it's exorbitant amounts of money for all footballers, but he's one of Chelsea's best players and he should therefore be one of Chelsea's best paid players.
The issue is he's currently on 80 grand a week, and that's where it's...
Exactly.
I think he's not worth 300. Obviously, it's all arbitrary, but he's 150 to 200 kind of range, isn't he?
But then
Big
players,
names, England international,
he'll go, wow, I should have been paid this for the last 2 years, so I want someone...
I think he'll also say if Chelsea had to sign him, he would be worth
I think that's the problem
50, 60, 80, whatever. So Chelsea have saved massively that he's come through their youth system, and therefore he just wants a sweetener on top of whatever rate you think he should get because he's...
You get when players come through the academy, fans and the club almost expect them to take less wages because, you're an academy player. And players are seeing other players run their contracts down, go at the end of a contract on a free, get huge signing on fees, and they're set forever. Do you know what I mean?
He immediately gets £250,000 a week elsewhere.
Plus they're like 20, 30 million pounds signing on fee because they don't have to pay a transfer fee.
Because they won't pay a transfer fee. So I understand why he wants to secure the bag, and I have no issue with it. But I do think it's essential that Chelsea make sure that he signs.
Who's more responsible for his downturn in form, the club or the player? And I understand that this isn't
the player.
This
the player
is a
has to take
more
responsibility. The player has to take responsibility. I never put somebody in any situation either. If you're not doing as well as you should be doing, first and foremost, it's your responsibility. First and foremost, there can be many different reasons. There can be many explanations, but you take the bulk of the responsibility. If it doesn't really, and again, this makes me sound incredibly severe, but I don't really care what's going on away from. Loads of people have loads of things going on in their life. Turn up and do your job first and foremost.
Buvey, would you take him at Manchester City?
I'd take him to wind up Rory. Do you know, it'd be funny.
Do you think he would contribute to your team though? Like genuinely, I think your midfield is going through a little bit of a rebirth. I think your midfield is going through a little bit of a rebirth.
Do you know what I worry about with Mason Mount? My gut instinct is some players travel better than others. Some players could go from a Chelsea to a United, go from a Liverpool to an Arsenal. Some players, I get the sense that, when Joe Cole went to Liverpool, he got swallowed up by the size of the club. He didn't have a very good debut.
He went there because he was old. He didn't get swallowed up by the size of the club. He'd been at Chelsea
I don't
winning
think the fans
leagues.
rated him. I think he could go to Man United, and I don't think he'd suit the club. He's a Chelsea boy through and through. He's the kind of guy I could see playing at Stamford Bridge for 10 years. Some players look like Tammy Abraham, for example, look like a kind of guy that could play anywhere. He could play at Man United, he could play in Italy, and he's done very well doing that. But for me, Mason Mount, he's a Chelsea player.
No, he is.
Through, in my opinion.
But that's not the
I don't
question.
think he'll translate very well to other clubs.
Ashley Cole.
I think he could go to Man United and be misunderstood for who he is.
Now, you know what? United, let's say McTominay's not good enough. We need to get rid of him in the summer. Possibly could say the same about Fred. If United were to get a Frankie de Jong to be our main, Casemiro, Frankie de Jong, Bruno, I'd take Mount as an alternative to those in that and be someone to rotate.
The other thing is, he'd be
sign
such a good player
for Ten Hag.
For Ten Hag, he'd be such a good player for Jurgen Klopp. And I hope that we can say he'll be such a good player for the next Chelsea manager, who I hope is appointed very soon.